time. Gets a block down the sideline. End zone. Touchdown.
Colorado upsets 13th-ranked Penn State.
Their left foot shot off the post. Taking on the line. Goal for the Buffaloes. Blitz coming. Spade in trouble. The ball's loose. Scooped up by Colorado, and a big man running all the way in.
For my freshman year, we've been told that that was our goal, is to go to a bowl game. And then this year, we realized that we were good enough to play in the Pac-12 championship, which is good and all. But, from the first day here, I feel like that was our first goal, was to go to a bowl game and to finish out with those seniors at the time. And, those seniors didn't get a chance to play in a bowl game. The next seniors didn't get a chance. The next seniors didn't get a chance. And now it's right here in front of us. So I feel like we playing for our own dreams, but also for theirs that didn't get a chance. We really want to finish out strong and make sure that we secure our legacy.
Last year we realized that we could play with these teams that were blowing us out in years past, and so with that in mind, we set our goal higher. We felt that we had the ability, we had the chance to win the Pac-12 South, and we did. We felt that we had the ability to win the championship, which didn't turn our way, but at the same time, by setting those high goals, you're not trying to limit your team to just something that can be achieved easily. And so by having these bigger goals, it really allowed us to push harder and do things that a lot of people didn't expect us to do.
One of the things I sensed about our whole football team, and especially us on defense, is they are brotherhood. They do a lot of things together. They clown around together. They work together. They get on each other together. They're probably in my 22 years, probably one of the tightest groups I've been around. And when you have a successful football team, a lot of that comes together. They know each other. You watch them communicate on the field. You watch them how they talk to each other in the game situations. A lot of times they've been around each other. They know each other. They believe in each other. They trust each other. They'll fight for each other. And that's one of the biggest things that has showed our success this year.
There's a few comments from defensive players and the acting defensive coordinator Joe Tumpkin here in San Antonio as we get ready for the Buffs' first bowl appearance since 2007 as they take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys in the Alamo Bowl. Hi everybody, welcome into the Buffalo Stampede. I'm Mark Johnson, joined by Buffs great Chad Brown. First off, it is great to have a bowl game to talk about for the Buffaloes, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It's been a long time coming. And in my college experiences, the bowl games, that was a special time with my teammates. Sure. You don't have class the next day. There's no other pressure. You get a chance to really enjoy yourself, have some fun in the city, play some video games, really bond together as a team.
Before we start talking about this matchup with the Cowboys, how do you look back? I mean, when you consider where this program has been for a decade, and it's been rough. I don't need to tell Buff Nation how bad it's been.
Right.
But to have this thing turned around, have a 10-win season, get to the Pac-12 title game, and be a top 10 team. What's kind of, as an alum, what do you think? What are you talking about?
It's obviously a special feeling as an alum, but I'm really just so proud of those guys who stuck to it. This senior class, they've been through some really tough times, and to see them rewarded here at the end of their time at CU with this bowl game, it's just been really gratifying to see that.
By the way, we're here in the Riverwalk, if you couldn't tell. That's what's going on behind us, fans all around us. Great setting for the Alamo Bowl. Now, the Pac-12 title game didn't go over the Buffs' way. Might have been the first time this season we've seen a team really kind of physically manhandle the defensive front for the Colorado Buffaloes. That had to surprise you, I would think.
Yeah, it was definitely surprising. I didn't think that would be possible. Really, that defensive front, those three guys up front, were probably the reason this defense was so good this year. And to see them be manhandled, as you point out, it kind of hurt my Buff pride a little bit to see that happen.
Well, the Buffs, by the way, speaking of that defense, changes. Jim Leavitt leaves the program. Joe Tumpkin, as I mentioned off the top here, we heard from Joe, the acting defensive coordinator. How does that maybe affect things from a preparation standpoint when you have that shuffling of coaches?
Sometimes when coaches change, it tests the program itself. Coaches are always going to come and go. Players are going to come and go, but the program is built strong enough around them, you can withstand that. So Joe Tumpkin stepping in for Jim Leavitt. If Jim Leavitt has built a strong enough defense, if Mike McIntyre has built a strong enough program, that's something they'll be able to endure.
Yeah, they know the game plan. That's obviously been set all season long. We'll see how they react in that regard. This also gives a team a chance to heal up a little bit. This was a beat-up football team in that Pac-12 title game.
The bowl game, that period in between the last regular season game with the championship game and the bowl game, gives you a chance to heal up, but also gives you a chance to do some self-scouting and some evaluating and really prepare and dial in for your opponent. So you should see the absolute best from each Buffs player. One of the reasons why I played well in the bowl games when I was a Buff is because you had 5 weeks to look at tape and prepare for an opponent. You knew everything they did. You had a chance, unlike during the regular season, you watched maybe a couple of games. You had a chance to watch every single game they played. You were really prepared for everything they brought.
How about the idea, though, of having, in this case, it's going to be about 3.5 weeks by the time they play. Having some rust, is that more of an offensive issue, not having the timing, not being sharp out there as compared to the defensive side?
I think rust can affect both sides of it, but in the end, after the first series or two, you should be back to playing football. The layoff hasn't been that long, and I have to imagine both teams have had enough physical practices. You don't need to go out and develop your tough skin again.
Yeah, Buffaloes and the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. You know, they said all season long, the Big 12, unlike when this guy was playing, that they didn't play any defense in that league. I think that, you know, from a statistical standpoint, that may be true, but there's a lot of athletes Oklahoma State's got.
Oh, absolutely. And I go back to the Big 8 days. That's how old I am. Big 8
wow,
days.
is he old.
Yeah, but the Buffs defense is really going to have to step up. You know, Mason Rudolph, the quarterback, over 4,000 yards this season, 25 touchdowns. You know, they're averaging, went through a 6-game stretch, averaging almost 43 points a game.
Wow.
That's tough. That's a tough duty.
Is there a little bit of pride, though, to see the Buffs back at this level?
Oh, I've done a lot of college football this season, and everywhere I've gone all season long, that was the number one thing people talked to me about was the Buffs and the return of the Colorado Buffaloes and how proud they are to see this program back.
And you don't think this was a monster rating waiting for resurrection? I mean, the Buffs sold out their allotment of tickets, had to ask for more. It's going to be a huge CU crowd down here. You knew the folks would get back on eventually, right?
Well, when it's been so long, you hope folks would jump back on, to see them jump back on as quickly as they did. It's really been special for a former Buff who was part of the glory days.
Right.
Now to see hopefully the glory days returning again.
Well, Chad, along with Gary Barnett and yours truly, we'll have the radio broadcast on KOA News Radio and the Colorado Football Network beginning at 5 o'clock Mountain Time on Thursday. Buffs and Cowboys will kick it off at 7 down here in the Valero Alamo Bowl in San Antonio, Texas. Stay with us. Anthony Jolmese, the outstanding young cornerback, will be joining us as we continue here in the Stampede. And we continue our coverage here in the Buffalo Stampede from San Antonio, Texas, the Alamo Bowl. Buffs in a bowl game for the first time since 2007 as they take on Oklahoma State on Thursday night here in the Lone Star State. Hi, again, I'm Mark Johnson of KOA Radio, your play-by-play voice of the Buffs. Joining us, Anthony Jolmese out of the secondary for the Buffaloes. They're going to be challenged against a very high-powered offense on Thursday versus the Cowboys. You guys looking forward to this?
You already know. We had a lot of preparation within the past few weeks. Coach Mack and everybody's been, going over coverages with us on the daily. We had a lot of off time, but I mean, most of the time we were spending that either, studying our playbook or trying to get ready for this game because we want to send the seniors out in the right way.
Yeah, I was going to say, I talked to Cepho earlier today, in fact, getting ready for the radio broadcast, and he was telling me, he said, the game plan's been in for 3 weeks. You got a lot of time to get ready for this thing.
Yeah, it's felt like we've been practicing for months at this point. I didn't realize how far off the game was since, our last game.
Sure.
I mean, we're all ready to step back on this field, honestly. We're more ready than ever.
I wonder, Anthony, you hear a lot of times with bowl games that, teams are off for about a month. You guys last played in the Pac-12 title game against Washington. It's going to be almost 3.5 weeks since you last played. Is there an opportunity to get a little bit rusty, do you think, having not played in game action after that long?
That was a great question, honestly. Nah, yeah. Especially not, because Coach Mack ensured, that's one thing he always pressed us about in practice. He wants us to go full speed at all times, even if we're in our uppers or if we're in spiders in a helmet. We're always going full speed. He always told us to simulate the speed of the game, and that's what we did.
What can you say about the way this defense played this season? Number one ranked defense in the Pac-12. So good in the secondary where you are. You had some great players you played along with back there. This defense was phenomenal all season long, wasn't it?
Yeah. The one word, if I had to describe my defense, was I would say complete, honestly. Yeah. We have all the elements. We have our guys up in the front. We have our secondary, and we all click. And if we don't understand each other, we don't understand what's going on, we'll literally pause within the game and give each other a quick communication, and we'll just head nod, get right back on it. So, yeah. I feel like we're just complete and we click better than any other defense in the country, to be honest.
What do you think you learned as a young player from some of the veteran guys you played behind?
One thing that I learned for sure is never get complacent. You're always striving to be the best, and basically, even if you got somebody that needs your help or something, like the younger guys, instill that within them, show them the way. You know what I'm saying? With Cheeto and those guys, they're always, at a certain point, they'll never slack off in practice. Right. They'll always, tell me, hey, you could have done this better. Even if, I swear, sometimes I'll have the best coverage, down there catch a pick. But they'll be like, hey, you could have done this better, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, wow, all right. Let's keep it moving.
When I've talked to you, I understand you're a confident guy. Yeah. Was there a moment, though, in your first season of this level of college football where it kind of clicked and you thought, okay, I belong here?
Yeah, actually, you're right. Honestly, it was really in the middle of the season where because, you know, my transition, honestly, in high school, I mostly played offense. And I also played defense, but not as much as I did offensively. And when I finally understood, like, at a certain point in practice, I was just like, hey, I think I really, like, get this and I can do this, you know, for the next, you know, 3 or 4 years.
Right.
So, yeah, there was a certain point where I was like, yeah, I belong here, and, you know, it's my time to shine.
I know that you've got, you know, the matter at hand is playing the Alamo Bowl in Oklahoma State, but you've really got an opportunity. That secondary, as good as it is, a lot of upperclassmen there. I mean, there's a lot of playing time sitting out there next season for a young guy like you.
Yeah, I'm excited about that playing time. I knew my shot was coming, like, as soon as I got here, because I believed in my ability and I believed in what I knew, and especially, you know, the way the coaches were speaking to me, and the way they were breaking down what was going to happen within the next few years. Basically, they just told me that, you know, hey, just keep working and you're going to, you know, shine up. So here it goes. Good stuff. Hey, you guys have been out here since Christmas Eve, a long time. They've been keeping you busy. What's this experience been like leading up to the game? It's been fun, honestly. I haven't had this much fun in a while. We had a lot of festivities and stuff like that. And I think this trip especially, like, made us all close, because we never had this much off time. And with it, you know, it's not always going to be about football. You know, you got to have fun with each other. And I feel like that really made us, you know, bond. And, you know, I talked to a lot of guys that I never really got a chance to speak to during the season about, you know, certain personal stuff. And I really enjoyed that.
Give us a comment about this Oklahoma State team you're going to face. Mason Rudolph, very good quarterback. McCluskey, Washington, outstanding receivers they've got. What do you see from the Cowboys offensively? I'm
not going to lie. They're one of the best offenses that we've seen in a while. Nothing but praise for those guys. They deserve to be here just as much as we do. And they're probably one of the better teams that we played this season. And we're looking forward to that.
All right. Have yourself a good game.
I appreciate that.
All right, that's Anthony Joe Meese in the secondary for the Buffaloes as they take on Oklahoma State in the Alamo Bowl. By the way, our radio broadcast gets underway at 5 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock with the kickoff on the Colorado Football Network. Stay with us here on the Stampede. When we come back, we're talking men's basketball. That's straight ahead. Got a defender on him, pushes out the foul line, jump pass to the right side. Brown pulls up, three ball is on the way. Finally,
that's
he
Delian Brown with the Colorado 1,
with his 11th three-pointer of the campaign. Back in the Stampede here in San Antonio. Football's not the only thing going on. The Buffs basketball team under Tad Boyle wrapped up its non-conference play with a victory over Eastern Washington to wrap up non-con play at 10-3. Now they came back from 17 down against the Eagles. Leading the way was Derek White with 17, double-double like by Wesley Gordon. Let's go ahead and check out some sights and sounds from the Buffs win over the Eagles.
Well, it was a good win, especially given how we started the game and, fell down 17, 19-2, which is not something I was certainly planning on. But we beat a good Eastern Washington team, a team that's really hard to play against, and I thought they were terrific. Didn't do a very good job on them in the first half, but did a much better job in the second half. We had to make some adjustments on the high ball screen, and our guys did a good job of executing that in the second half, and it showed with our defensive numbers. So.
White's got the offensive rebound. Buffs get another possession. Give it up, Hockey Azili. Out of the bucket goes up.
Thomas Hockey Azili
again from the left side. Thomas Hockey Azili has his first points, and the Buffaloes.
We came out super slow, and our bench players gave us a big spark that we needed and helped a lot. We just stuck to our principles. On offense, we like to run the floor and get the ball move early to the open man. If you're open, shoot it, which is what I did from a great pass by Derek. So we just got the ball moving on offense a lot, and it worked out for us.
You got to get stops. The only way to get back in the game is to get stops. Especially our bench, I think they did a great job of getting stops, chipping away at the lead. Offensively, we started making shots, moving the ball, getting great shots. So it all starts with defense and then getting on transition.
Derek White with his first three-pointer, and the Buffs within 8, 31-23, with 3.5 to play here.
We talked about chipping away, and the way you chip away is not by trading baskets. You have to get stops, and the stops hopefully can lead to some transition baskets, which it did in the first half a little bit, especially in the second half. I thought it did. But just, look, play the possession. Don't worry about the score. When you're up 17, you don't worry about the score. When you're down 17, you just worry about the possession that we're in. But we know the only way to get back in this thing is to get some stops and try to get some easy ones, get to the foul line, which I thought we did a good job of tonight.
Fortune, he's open for three, right between the eyes from downtown. He's got 7 bumps within 2.
We missed a lot of easy one. To start, I feel like offensively we had a lot of great looks we just missed. But defensively we didn't come ready to play. We let 32 do whatever he wanted at the beginning. and that's a problem, and we need to come out ready to play. I think we did a good job of being in gaps. We talked about that in halftime, make them see a crowded floor, not have a big gap, and then we just wanted to make tough twos and try to beat him to the spot because we knew what he wanted to do, so I think we just made it more difficult for him.
He pushes across the top line right to left. In the corner, fortune for three, right between the eyes, deep in the right corner. A timeout by the Eagles, and the Buffs have climbed the mountain and
We did a much better job offensively in the second half, not settling for jump shots. One of the reasons we fell down to begin with, 19-2, is we settled for jump shots. Jump shots weren't going in. We weren't getting offensive rebounds. We're on our heels, and we did defensively. We were pretty good the first couple of minutes, but then boom, Blizny got going, and our players got schooled a little bit, but they rose to that challenge in the second half.
Wesley on the right block, backs his way down, jump pass across the paint, taken by X. Johnson, layup is up and good. Xavier has got his first points. Give the assist to Wesley. It's
At halftime, we had came back, so the lead was like kind of cut down. So we were just trying to stay positive and come out second half and just step on them early, not come out like we did the first half and let the main guy go wherever he wanted to go on the floor. So we tried to contain him and contain the other shooters.
I mean, we just got to be consistent. That's been the theme of our season. We're up and down. We have good stretches, and then we'll have stretches like the beginning. So consistency would be huge for us, and league play is going to really be important.
Blizny plays it deep left corner. Sir Washington drives, runs over the top of DeLeon Brown, and an offensive foul. And how about
We're 10-3. The Colorado State game just still eats at me. I just think that's going to be, at the end of the year, it's going to be a bad loss. But the BYU game is not a bad loss. The Notre Dame game is not a bad loss. The Xavier win was a great win. And the rest of them we kind of just plodded through and took care of business. So it was good. It wasn't great. I really wanted to be 11-2, 12-1, but we're not. We're 10-3, and that's water under the bridge. It's time to get better and make waves in the conference, because our conference, at the top end, is obviously very, very good. At the bottom end, you've got some teams that have struggled, and those now become must-wins for teams like Colorado.
After non-conference play, the Buffaloes open up Pac-12 play on the road. In fact, 5 of the first 7 games for Tad Boyle's Buffaloes are on the road to open up league play. They open up on New Year's Day at Utah against the Utes. Then they're down in Arizona against the Arizona Schools, home to the UCLAs, then at Washington. It's a very tough beginning slate in Pac-12 play for the Buffs men's team. When we come back here in the Stampede, we'll talk CU women's basketball.
Game is what Roberts averages, and they get the ball to Nagaki, and it's taken away. Alexis Robinson takes it away, gives to Leonard, trailing down the right side, layup and in.
Back one final time here in San Antonio on the Buffalo Stampede. Now talking CU women's basketball. J.R. Payne has had a great start to her tenure at CU. In fact, the Buffaloes 10-1 as they wrap up non-conference play. Did so with a loss, ranked as high as 15th in the country, currently 20th. But that one blemish came in the final non-conference game as they fell by 7 to the Wyoming Cowgirls. Kennedy Leonard, who's been outstanding early on this season, had a school record 22 in the fourth quarter. Let's go and check out the highlights of the Buffs and the Cowgirls.
Back out. Nagaki, pull up free throw line, blocked by Ellis.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that we would come to the podium at some point, right, with the loss. So, I mean, why not to Wyoming? They're a great team. They're very well coached. They were tough. They did the things down the stretch they needed to do to win the ball game, and they're a great team, knocking down free throws. And so the outcome is disappointing. I think that there's a lot we can learn from this team, or from this game, excuse me, in just really sticking to who we are. I think we got outside of ourselves a little bit in the first half. Second half, I thought was more kind of who we are. But I'm unbelievably proud of this team in our preseason. We've had a preseason that no one expected us to have. We've already overachieved, in other people's eyes, and so I'm excited for where we are. I'm excited for the things that we can learn from this game. Excited for these guys to get to go home and be with their families for 4 days, and then excited for Pac-12 play.
Look, Leonard wants to go right. Rust won't let her, then finally scoots her way in and will score.
A lot of layups. I thought the first half especially would have been a different halftime score if we had finished at the rim. I don't know, it just kind of felt a little discombobulated, felt like we were a bunch of individuals playing on the court in the first half. It felt that way. I don't know how it felt for these guys on the floor, but we just felt kind of disjointed. I thought we kind of rallied and played a better basketball game in the second half.
Nice little two-man game that time. Kennedy spotted Coriel sliding down that left side of the lane.
We haven't been down like that before in a game, but I know personally for me, Coach Jay just grabbed me and told me that she believed in me, and then I just kind of spread that throughout the team. And then obviously every time we're sitting down, Coach Jay's positive with us and tells us that she has our back. So I think just knowing that people are in your corner no matter what the score is, I think that's just a huge thing for us.
To Leonard, slashes across the lane to Roberts. Now Ellis for a three up top. Yeah! Second three-pointer of the game for Mackenzie Ellis.
We're down by 2, and I think at any moment, when you're down by 2, you feel like you can win that game. But sometimes things don't go your way, and everything's a learning lesson. So hopefully we use this to our advantage to get ready for Pac-12s, and we're ready when those come.
But it just came down to we didn't have those defensive stops, and they were playing very fundamental, whereas we weren't. And that is where they hurt us, and just making shots just kept the ball rolling for them.
Three. Missed that well short. Offensive board by Burris. She'll put it up and in.
I knew I had to step up since some people were struggling with their shots. I just come out like I do every game, work hard, take the open shots, and crash. And so that's what I came to do, and do that every night.
They were really aggressive to the basket, which was smart by them, because we were overplaying on the perimeter. And so that opened that up for them. But to me, that's one of the biggest things is really fundamentally, being in help side, being we call it smash, but being ready to, to defend the way that we want to in a shell-type defense.
To Mackenzie for 3. Why not?
They're just tough. They work really hard, and they capitalize on your mistakes. So if you make a mistake, they're waiting for it, and they'll take advantage of it.
And Kennedy Leonard's going to the free throw line, split the defenders, ran.
Now the Buffaloes will jump into arguably the toughest women's basketball conference in America. In fact, 7 teams in the Pac-12 ranked in the top 25. Of course, the Buffaloes are 20th. They open up against USC on the road on December 30th. And then, of course, you kind of jump into the deep end of the pool with the Buffaloes. Been a great start to the season, and they've got a great challenge coming up in the Pac-12. That'll wrap things up here in San Antonio for the Alamo Bowl. Next week, we'll bring you highlights from the Buffaloes and the Cowboys as the Buffs are back in the postseason for the first time since 2007. We'll talk to you next time.